Hey everybody, this is Brad Johnson Small Engines. We just took this carburetor off of a snow thrower with a China motor. This is a China carburetor, and we're gonna have a video on here to how to take it apart. And I actually use a ultrasonic cleaner to clean these things, but if anybody wants to see how I remove the parts on the carburetor once it's off the machine, this is how we do it. 10mm wrench. For that, I use a screwdriver for getting the jet out of the bottom. I love my fender clip tool for getting stuff like this off, and basically this is just the tube that goes through the primer bulb, and we're just gonna use this a little bit here and pop it off. A lot of times you can just pull these off. That went pretty easy. Taking the bowl off the bottom, it's a 10mm wrench. Oh, that baby's on there. That is tight. All right, sometimes you gotta really grunt them. Now you could use a couple rags underneath you. You're gonna have, depending on how old the, depending how old the gas is, it may stink. If it's really bad gas, it'll be greenish, and really bad, you won't be able to tell that there's a carburetor because it's so bad. But this one actually isn't too bad. A little bit of stuff on the inside of that bowl, it's not really that bad, but we're gonna throw this into the cleaner too. All right, then you have your float, and you have a gasket here. The gasket around the outside here is to seal against the bowl gasket, the bowl. All right, so you got to be careful with this gasket if you want to try to reuse it. I definitely recommend new gaskets, but if you're trying to get this thing done in a pinch to get your machine back up and running again, this is the needle that takes out, this is the pin for your float. You pull this out, it should be easily pulled out. If it's not easily pulled out, something's wrong. You may have bad gas that sat in there and got real bad. Then it gets gooey, okay? Take the float out, the needle's on the other side of it. You can investigate the needle and make sure it doesn't have any kind of divots in it. It should be like a V. It's neoprene at the end. This one looks to be in pretty decent shape. There's no need for this to go into the tank, so I'll tank it all. All right, then you have your gasket here, which I like to get out now. I usually use a small pick, and you just have to make sure that you don't puncture that. You can reuse them, but you don't want to stretch them. You know, sometimes these come out real easy, and sometimes they don't. I try to find a spot where it's going to come up real easy. And you just gotta be real careful if you want to try. A lot of times you can't reuse these. There's the gasket. Okay, now inside you have a jet. It's real important to get this jet out because this is what gets clogged a lot of times. So flathead screwdriver, make sure you get a good grip on it because you don't want to strip it. This is really tight in there, and you'll feel it. You got to press down on it, and it should unscrew. Sometimes these can be a little bit tricky getting out also. This one was really tight. And just be careful, they're brass. If you start messing with the top of the brass with the screwdriver, you can actually lose the cutout on it, and the slot head won't fit in there anymore, and you can't do anything about it. Now, I tap these on to get to come out. Just keep tapping away. Eventually it falls out. This is your main jet. These get clogged right in the center. In fact, I don't see daylight. And we'll just try to put it in the cleaner. Sometimes you can use a little wire and poke through that hole. It's not recommended though. Now, past this jet, there's another jet. Now, as you can see, it's inside, and it did not come out. Now, usually I'll use a block of wood so I can hit it on top, because you don't want to mess up the threads on the bottom of that. So we have, the way I get it off here is I tap it, keep tapping, and then pay attention when it comes out, right? It's only going to come out one way. You don't want to turn it around, so that's how it comes out. I've done this enough times that I know which way it goes in, but just make sure you remember which way it comes out, because you want to make sure you put it in. It goes just like this. And you see all these little holes? All these holes on this have to all be cleaned. And so by putting it, you can, like I said, you can use a very thin piece of wire. And I have my own little, this is the wire. You probably won't be able to see this wire. It's so thin, but that's what I use to poke through them. And basically, you don't want them too big, because you'll actually make the copper, or not the copper, the brass, to actually be you'll get it too. It'll be too big of a hole. You just want to poke to see if you can see daylight. Now I'm going to put this in ultrasonic cleaner, and we'll bake it for like 30 minutes. And all it is simple green. And the ultrasonic cleaner I use is basically just like a when you go to a jewelry store and you get your jewelry clean, that's what we use now to clean carburetors. It does a real nice job. Going to the top of the carburetor here, you have a screw. This is actually your idle screw. All right, that's got to come off to get to this jet right here. All right, so we're gonna. Now this doesn't have. They used to use Phillips head. Now they got some really funky looking. I don't know what they call that thing, but you got to use a flathead screwdriver. Usually, get in here and you can unscrew it. Now when you put it back in, basically it's just holding that jet in. This is what this does. But you got to make sure that jet goes back down flush. This jet here has to be flush with the side of the carburetor here. A lot of times they're hard to get down in there flush. Here comes my special fender clip tool, and that will help me pop this out. Pops right out. And on the back side of this, you also have another jet inside there. It's a little bit of brass, and that also will get cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaner, along with the carburetor and along with these other pieces. And so we're going to put, I'm actually going to use my piece of wire here just to see if I have any clog in that jet. Feels pretty good. Alright, so we'll put all these in here. That's all going to go into a little baggie. It's going to go into the cleaner, parts cleaner. I'm also going to put the bowl in there to clean that up, which isn't too bad. And of course, the important part is the carburetor. So now we're going to take this to the ultrasonic cleaner and clean it up. Thanks for watching.